Greetings, Bat Warriors. Greetings. Greg is back. So are you. Welcome to the Results Kill Excuses channel. I am grateful to share, hopefully, an inspired message. Some of you may feel challenged. Some of you may feel exposed by the light of the message today. And today's got me thinking about newness. I'm recording this video on December 1st. It got me thinking about a new week, a new day, a new month. And we're very close to a new year. And perspective is an important part of how you perceive newness. There's a lot of us that through tradition, through programming, many of us have always waited for New Year's to say, okay, once the new year comes, or a new season. The new season is even closer. To say, okay, once the new season happens, or the new this, or the new that, then I'm going to be ready. There's something about that alignment of the newness. And what I've learned along my journey is that every day is an opportunity for us to be new, to renew this lease on life, to renew our intentions, our goals, our dreams, our aspirations, our desires, to renew our sense of what we prioritize in terms of our health, our wealth, our freedom, our love, our success. How do you prioritize each and every day that there is newness? There's newness in the day, and how do you capture that newness in a way that it can fuel you throughout the day, throughout the week, throughout the month? This is what is very strategically woven into the Results Kill Excuses 1% Better Everyday Journal. It also has that planner, that strategic planner component to it, where every month, every week, every day, you reflect on the things that matter to you. Because if you write it down and you take a moment to visualize it, the chances of it actually coming into reality is exponentially larger than you just wishing and waiting and wondering and wandering around thinking that something miraculous will happen. Yeah, I've been through some pretty miraculous things. I promise you, I have had some incredible miracles happen in my life. Divine intervention, miracles happen in my life. And I wake up every day even expecting more, as I saw 6 zeros and 2 2s. Those are all just, for me, those are activation codes. Those are letting you know that beyond all the meanings and definitions, that you know what, you're in the right place at the right time. And if you're hearing this message, it's an incredible honor for me to be on this journey with you, for our paths to have crossed, for this intersection. My soul, your soul, agreeing to exchange this moment of time and space, that I may speak some encouragement and inspiration into you. However, that will only go as far as you wish it to go. And usually for me, on the good days, and they're all good, but on the days that have less challenges, still good days. The days that have less challenge, I got to keep that cup full, and I have to stay locked in. I still have to have my intentions, setting intentions every single day. Starting in the morning, waking up, positive affirmations. I've been listening to positive affirmations from the beginning of this morning. And truth be told, I even listen to evening sleep affirmations. because that's when the subconscious is still there. Even though you're asleep, your subconscious is still sitting there. And when you infuse it with positive affirmations at night, I'm telling you, I have felt that shift at the deeper level of the reprogramming, of the negativity, the inner critic. And all of this started with me hitting a rock bottom 14 years ago and saying, I got to do something new. I can't keep doing the same things. I can, actually. That's the thing. We can continue doing what we've been doing, but we shouldn't complain. And even that's a loser's mindset. And a lot of us are that overwhelmed. Maybe you're somebody that's that overwhelmed. I doubt you're going to listen to this much of this type of message if you're in that full state of being. But if you are, comment down below. Just talk about how defeated you are about the situations of this world and everything that's going on and how helpless you feel. And maybe you just need somebody to come alongside you and say, you know what, but I hear all that. But guess what? There's something in you that if you just start taking and tackling one issue at a time and working through it, facing your fears, facing the doubt, really sitting in the mud of the situation that you find yourself in, you will absolutely bring about positive momentum, positive success. You'll start to improve your life. Is it overnight? No, that's the biggest problem. We want it now. Guess what? I have that mindset too. But I wake up every day saying, today's the day. Today's the day. Today's the day. Today's the day. Today. And I've been doing that for 14 years. Today's the day. And I don't really keep score whether yesterday was the day or today's the day or tomorrow. I just keep the positive momentum going. And it's like you have to be your own encourager, your own source of inspiration and motivation. And much of that, for you to feel good about yourself, waking up a new day, new month, new week, and coming up on a new year, new seasons, it's going to take you making some sacrifices, being honest enough with yourself, and then also starting to develop self-discipline, self-accountability. Also something that is in the 1% Better Everyday Journal. You know that they say that the number one indicator of self-governance, right? Your ability to follow the rules of the land, the laws of the land, right? If you're willing to actually follow the rules, they say the number one indicator is if when you go to the grocery store and you get a cart, do you return the cart or do you leave it? Do you leave it out there in the parking lot or do you take it to the little cart section, the return section? That one indicator, they say, says everything about whether or not someone is willing to self-govern. Well, self-governance can also be like, can you be self-accountable? And I used to be the guy, I just heard it. It came through. I used to be the guy that said, well, that's why, I'm giving someone a job. You know what? If you've ever been in the store and you see those that are getting the carts, right? They have their job and they like to get the carts from the stall. When they have to go and get them all over the place, it is what it is. They still get paid that minimum hourly wage, clearly not a high technical job. But that's an attitude on your part to say, you know what is your role? And your role in that is just saying, hey, it's the right thing to do. It's the right thing to do. Does it make you bad if you don't do it? No. But again, if you have some more self-awareness, hey, it's just saying, let me go put that back. And I used to not do it. And when I heard that, I said, you know what? I'm going to start doing that. And I do it every time now. It's simple, right? But sometimes for some of us, it's not easy because we want to tell ourselves all these other stories. And it's that thinking mind. The thinking mind continues to sabotage you, continues to get in the way, wants to trip you up, wants to cause chaos in your life and keep you emotionally dysregulated, keep you playing small, keep you in a place of fear and doubt and guilt and shame and apathy. Even if you're doing, right, surviving, that doesn't mean you're thriving and you're alive and living what could be your best life. And you don't have to settle for as good as it gets. Did you hear that? You do not have to settle for as good as it gets. You can actually get the pen, metaphorically and literally speaking, and you can write the most incredible story ever told about your life. How you went from wherever you're at right now to somewhere greater. And if there's something inside of you that type of growth, that type of movement in life is so unnecessary and I'm fine and it's good, then you know what? So be it. I am not here to convince you. I'm not here to twist your arm. I am here to reach those that are felt called and aligned and resonate with my message. Because I knew back then, 14 years ago when I hit my rock bottom, man, oh man, what I would have done to have come across this guy, the healed version of myself, to have come across this type of content with this type of support and material and resources, fuck. What it would have done was expedited. It wouldn't have turned it into a cheat code where it's like magic overnight. Now I'm all good. See, oh, wish. I don't promise that. I just promise that if you start making the effort to leave behind the self-sabotage, to start doing the self-discovery, and once you start figuring yourself out, then it's time to say, I need to make some self-improvements. And in doing that, that will eventually lead you to the upper echelon phases of this experience, which is ultimately going to get you to a level of self-mastery, not self-control. Self-control is not in there. Self-control is something that we cling to in a survival state of being. It's when we feel helpless and not empowered. When you're empowered, you don't need to control shit. You figure yourself out, and the things you don't want or like about yourselves, you could just be like that. The things you hate about yourselves, you change, you improve. And some of that stuff is literally just through physical repetition, right? Maybe it's through changing your nutrition or starting a physical activity regimen. Maybe it's creating that mindfulness in the morning practice where you're journaling and you're listening to positive affirmations. But maybe something you hate about yourself is just all that negative dialogue that you haven't really sat with. And maybe that's something that you got to raise your hand and ask for some help. And maybe you get yourself a therapist. Maybe you get yourself a coach like myself to kind of walk through some of the mud, some of the past experiences that are painful. Maybe you just need to learn how to sit with yourself. It's probably the hardest thing to do. Most of us, we can't sit still in quietness by ourselves with ourselves. And it's been one of the biggest lessons that I have gone through in the past 14 years of this spiritual awakening, has been those times of separation. Some of them by choice, some of them divine intervention. And those ultimately, looking back, can feel like those were dark nights of the soul. And sometimes they were seasons, extended periods of time, when I needed to just sit with myself to really figure out myself, no distractions. And what's wild is that when you come out as kind of, you've shifted your energy, you've shifted what's really going on the inside. And this is something that we have the power to do. It's hard to see it. It's hard to imagine it because there are so many people that, and so many products out there that just promise instant, like, man, you can, here's how you do it. Here's how you do it. Here's how you just instantly switch off that thinking, ignore that and go do this. And it's like, no, don't ignore it. Sit with it. Make peace with the side of yourself that's hurting, that's sad, that's lonely, that's rebelling, acting out. Make peace. Allow for those feelings to be felt. Let them have life, but do it in a safe container. That's the thing. Is that when you actually learn to sit with yourself, you should be with yourself. And even in being with yourself, if these feelings make you sad, then you should be allowed to cry, to mourn, to weep. If these feelings make you angry, you should be allowed to scream and yell. But a lot of us are like, we don't want to express them that way. But the thing is we do express them that way. And everybody's expressing them that way. And sometimes we don't express them with yelling and weeping. We express them with manipulation and acting out and pushing people away and shutting off and being guarded and being cold towards others. Because what we're really doing when we show up in that energy is we are telling people without telling people how we're feeling. So we're wanting them to feel, to experience how we're feeling. So if you're scared and you're angry, you want to make someone scared and angry. And so you do it by how you treat them. You're treating them a certain way so that they can do it. And it's like, but that's how you're trying to communicate. Hey, can you see me? Do you see me? Do you hear me? And it's like, that doesn't work. That's dysfunction. That's toxic. And it's happening everywhere we look, And so guess what? Back to the newness, it's time to try some new shit. And if you're hearing this message, it's time to try it now. Take that leap of faith now. If you're hearing the message, not just listening. If you're here for entertainment purposes, enjoy the ride. If you're here because you felt called to be here, this message resonates with you, there's something about it that keeps you locked in, keeps you listening and reflecting about your own experiences through my lens, then just make sure that you are absolutely holding yourself to the highest standard of accountability possible. And all it takes is becoming a little bit better, 1%, each and every day. Just a little better. Sometimes we have quantum shifts when we get a little better, then you have a breakthrough. But the mindset should just be, you know what? I'm going to be a little bit better. I'm going to reflect on who I was yesterday, who I was last week, who I was last month, and who I've been this past year. And I'm going to start to hold myself accountable to a higher standard. This is all about just raising your mindset and your frequency to say, I'm going to be at a higher standard than what I have been. That's self-governance. That is self-accountability. It is really the responsibility of all people. But yet most of us are just wandering around this earth looking for someone else or something else to show up in our life to make us feel good about ourselves when it doesn't matter your circumstances. And I know some of you got some pretty crazy circumstances. I am no exception. But can you, in the midst of the storm, find peace and calm within? You may not find the happiness and the bliss. That's next level shit. When the storm is fully like coming down on you. But can you find peace and calm? That is the sweet spot. Versus you allowing the storm to beat you down, and then you're reflecting, right, the despair and the chaos of the storms. But when you can find the peace and calm and be centered on yourself, and be encouraging yourself mentally and emotionally and spiritually and physically to say, I got to stay on my path. I got to maintain this regimen and reset it every single day, every week, every month. Because that is the chemistry, mental health, emotional health, spiritual health, physical health. And one of the key ingredients that most of us have forgot how to do this. Or at least we forgot that we know how to do this. You know what that is? You know what's coming up for me right now? Is to have fun. Most people have forgotten how to have like real sincere fun. Like the childlike fun. The innocent hearted, I'm gonna have fun. I'm gonna be silly. I'm gonna have fun. I'm gonna laugh. I'm gonna play. I'm gonna make a mess. And you know where you find that? It's another thing that I talk about in terms of the newness is trying new things. And a lot of times it's not even trying new things. It's re-engaging with things that you did when you were a child. Things that you would do by yourself. That you really loved to do. That you would get lost doing it for hours and hours on end. I mean, when I was a kid, you know, games came out, but again, it was imagination. I used to get caught up. I wish I had him. I'm going to show him at some point. I'll bring him. But I was in Colorado this week, and I was in a thrift shop, and I found this thing called a Mad Ball. And I had it. It was Cyclops. And I was like, dang, it's just all the nostalgia of like being a kid. And I used to have the whole collection of them. And so I purchased it just as a reminder to myself to stay playful, stay youthful, have fun. Try new things. The seriousness of this world is real. There's a lot of serious things going on. There's a lot of chaos happening. But do you have to put all your focus on it? Half of your focus? How much of your focus do you need to put on the chaos? I try and put the tiniest amount. I mean, I'm talking single digit focus. Like I look at multiple news sources, headlines. I scroll through. There's a few articles that might catch my attention that I'll drop into, or I'll see a world event happening. And I just basically say, okay, cool. There's still chaos in this world. People are still suffering. People still aren't choosing to themselves, knowing that the power is within you. And that, yes, you shifting your energy and really starting to fall into this program, this regimen of figuring yourself out at the emotional level, at the spiritual level, at the mental level, that you will shift your world. Your world will become so much more peaceful, more harmonious, more loving, more generous, more kind, more abundant, more prosperous. And it's hard to believe that, especially if you're sitting there and just like, man, everything is so terrible. How can I? And a lot of us, we want to mourn. If the world sucks, then we need to suck too. We have that, collectivism, corporate mindset. It's like, oh, if people are suffering, I need to suffer. It's like, no, you don't. You suffering on their behalf does not make the world a better place. You finding your peace, your harmony, your bliss makes this world a better place. And it also allows others to see your light, to see your inspiration, to know that they can also detach from the suffering of this world, which is really the suffering within. And you have to go in and reprogram yourself to say, I don't need to suffer perpetually. Suffering is a choice. Some of us don't believe that, but it absolutely, at the conscientious, the deepest part of who you are choosing your suffering. You are choosing your sadness. You are choosing the agony inside of your heart, the loss, the sorrow. You are choosing that. And it's an agreement. They say suffering is a contract that you have made with yourself, that until something else happens in the future, that until something happens, that you have made a contract with yourself to suffer in the way that you do. You need something outside of yourself to change, and once it does, you'll be better. You know what? That never works. That is a lie that we have all told ourselves, that we are probably being told by others. That's some deep-rooted programming to get us to disassociate ourselves from the true power within. That you absolutely have a right to be fun, to have fun, to be happy, to be filled with joy and peace and bliss. And it really starts with reparenting yourself, that inner child, to say, it's safe. It's safe. I'm here, you're here, we're safe. There's nothing to worry about. There's nothing to be afraid of. And maybe some of you are not in a safe environment. But again, in the midst of the storm, can you find peace, find calm, and emotional safety? And then you have to start asking yourself, is there a lesson from this situation that you can learn, that if you learn it, it will then allow for the situation to shift? Or is the lesson that you need to learn to get up, dust off, and walk out the door? Change your situation. It may feel scary, it may be challenging, but can you give yourself permission to, again, take that leap of faith and try something new? Maybe you need to move to a new town, a new job, a new relationship. And we get so attached to these things, we're like, oh no, but then XYZ and elemental P and on, and it's like, okay. Right? If you need whatever it is to feel secure, to feel safe, I understand that, but is there something more that you can be doing on the side, after hours, in the dark, that starts opening up new opportunities for you? And then that's where we just have to learn probably one of the lost arts, and that's time management. How to manage our time better, how to stay on task, which is how to discipline ourselves, how to write down goals, things that matter, that you're probably not going to get done between 8 to 5, Monday through Friday. You're going to have to turn the side hustle into a main hustle. You're going to have to be able to put energy into it. And I've talked a lot about that. Like if you're somebody that at the end of a hard-ass day, because you're a hard-ass worker, but you're still just kind of coming up empty, right? And if you just feel so exhausted at the end of the day, it's like, getting in that exercise, taking that shower to refresh your energy, and then re-engaging, right? Doing something to build yourself up, to build that fire within you, cultivate that energy, right? That's all something that you can choose to do. But it's going to take you staying locked in and breaking the patterns of mental defeat, not feeling like you're not good enough, or it's not possible, or it's impossible, and you're not worthy. It's worthiness. Worthiness holds so many of us back from fulfilling our destiny. Right? And I just know that if you've made it this far in the message, you're special. Right? You are one of one. There's no one else like you on this planet. You were called to do something so incredible, so great. And I'm here to cheer for you, and I'm going to continue trying to inspire you, to inspire change in you, for you to take action and truly believe in yourself, to believe in the fullness of what you have hidden inside of you, to reveal that. But first, you have to kind of clear out all that overburden, right? It's kind of a mining term, right? Excavation. It's like you got all this, before you get to the gold, they got to pull off all this overburden and all the just the dirt and the rock and the mud that doesn't have the precious resources within it. And so that's what we have to do in terms of letting go of all the emotional wounds and really doing some forgiveness, doing some healing, right? Really allowing ourselves to heal. To heal these emotional wounds takes a lot of compassion. Takes a lot of compassion to just really forgive yourself, forgive others, so that you could be free. Be free. It's a mindset. I'm rooting for you. I love you guys. Thank you to everyone that tunes in here. I love reading your comments. If you haven't yet, introduce yourself. Put in a comment down below. Let me know about yourself. How does this message connect with you? What are your experiences? What are you going through in this life? What have you learned so far in your own journey that can be relatable here? You never know who might read that and be inspired by what you have to offer. Because like I said, I know that those of you that are really called to hear, it's like you may not realize that you're called to be a leader. You're called to make a difference. And you don't need to overwhelm yourself with that phase of it yet. Just figure yourself out. Allow yourself to do new things. Try new things every single day. Doesn't have to be massive. Just little bits of newness create these butterfly effects. They start sending out signals to the divine that, someone's awakening. Someone's actually making real conscientious choices instead of just running, right, victim programs that keep you stuck. You're now actually saying, oh no, right? Newness, power, empowerment. It's a beautiful thing. I send you love, joy, and strength, prosperity in this new day. I love you guys so much. I'll see you on the next one. You know the drill. Results kill excuses, because if it was easy,